Okay, take a look at this. I am wearing a $1.2 million watch. Can you guess which one it is? These are just some of the most expensive luxury watches in the world. Many can't even be bought in stores. If you want one of these pieces, you need to head to the gray market.
And joining us right now is Roman Sharf, one of the top luxury watch dealers in the gray market. He's here with us on Good Day New York to explain really how the gray market works, how you can be a part of it, how you can get watches. And we're going to go over some of these watches because some are really expensive, others are very reasonable. But exactly what is the gray market and why does it even need to exist?
So the gray market used to be a derogatory term, right? It used to be like, oh, the gray market, these are the shady dealers, right? And it came to watches, it came to cars, it came to various markets, shoes, etc., you name it, even purses, right? Ever since we came out with our show, we try to make it a positive term. But in reality, all it is a secondary market for a product to resell. Now, whether it's watches, cars, purses, etc., that's all it really is.
How do you know that you're not going to get taken advantage of on the gray market? How do you know who's real, who's not?
Well, you just go to me.
Okay.
No, but
besides that, Roman.
It's very simple, actually. And I tell clients this all the time. Clients that are out of the country that don't have access, perhaps, to our company. I tell them, buy the dealer, not the watch. Do your research. See who you're buying from. How long have they been in the business? What is their return policy? Feedback. Right now you have social media. Social media is the easiest thing. And we took it a step further with our show. We just opened up the curtains and say, hey, here's a reality TV type of show where you can see what I do on a daily basis. You can see my office, my staff, and the stuff to handle, how we handle it.
And this thing really exploded kind of after the pandemic when people had money to spend and were looking for places. Let's go over some of the watches that you brought here because this is, first of all, it's a massive collection. You got watches. Why don't you start with something that, the average person can buy?
Do you want to talk about this?
I'm going to segue into that in a minute. I'm going to start with the most popular watch in the world, and this is the Rolex Daytona. Now, the Rolex Daytona, anybody who's into watches knows what a Daytona is, right? Okay. And the reason for that is... That's okay. And the reason for that is because it's synonymous with racing. It's synonymous with Paul Newman. One of these that belonged to Paul Newman sold in auction for $18 million. At the time, it was a record. There was now a watch sold for a higher amount.
So what's this one worth?
Well, this one originally in stores, this sold, I think it started at a retail price of $5,600. At the time this piece came out, I think the retail was around $9,800. Today on a secondary, and this watch is about 20 years old, it will sell around $22,000.
Wow.
Now, I couldn't forget about ladies, right? Majority of the watch market, the golden rule of thumb is that men's watches hold value better than ladies' watches that tend to go down in value more. However, there are exceptions to the rules, and obviously from the king of all watches, and that is Rolex. Rolex is so popular that in terms of popularity, they're up here, and number two, I don't know what floor we're on, fifth? Makes sense, Fox 5, fifth floor, right? It would be like on floor 2, right, or floor 1. And a ladies' day just such as this is not something you can walk into a store and buy readily. I think this thing retails for around $32,000. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
And it's got, see how our eyes lit up?
Wait, does that have a little diamonds on it?
It does have a diamond dial on it. Rose gold diamond dial. A watch retails for around $32,000. On a secondary market, expect to pay $36,000 to $37,000.
So some of these watches, people are coming to the gray market because they can't walk into a store and just buy. It's not, that they're not available, because they're sold out. It's not manufactured.
No, they are manufactured.
Or not enough of them are manufactured.
Well, here's the funny part, is Rolex manufactures the most amount of watches out of a lot of the companies combined, to the tune of 1.1 million watches a year. And they're so popular, the demand is so high that you still, for Daytona, you're going to give your left kidney, or you're going to wait in line for 5-6 years, spend probably $500,000 until the dealer will actually sell you one of these. It's absolute insanity. Another one is this particular watch, and Rolexes tend to have nicknames. You like Starbucks?
Sure, why not?
This is a Starbucks.
That's a Starbucks?
It's actually a Submariner, right?
Yeah.
It's a Rolex Submariner, but it's called a Starbucks for obvious reasons due to its colorway. And again, this is something that retails in the area of $11,000, but sells on the secondary around $18,000, almost 2x. During pandemic, 3x.
Roman, tell me about this watch on my
So I'm going to start with the watch I have on my wrist.
Okay, fine. Be that way. You've got to up me on my watch.
No, but it looks the same, does it not?
Yeah, it does.
It looks exactly the same. So I'm going to ask you to take that off. I'm going to put them side by side.
Okay.
And the only difference you'll notice on the watches is there's a little logo on the one that you were wearing versus the one I'm wearing. Now what this is an original 3700 Nautilus from 1976, designed by one of the greatest designers of watches of all time.
Can you just lean it forward just a little bit more for the camera?
Mr. Gel Genta, right?
Yeah.
And he designed this Nautilus in 1976. It was one of the most iconic designers. Gave birth to every popular Nautilus today that sells way over list. Back in 1976, this particular watch was somewhere around $3,600 price price range, and so was this one. This one today on the market trades at around $200,000, and this one trades for $1.25 million.
Why?
Because of that tiny little thing you see on the dollar. What that is the Khanjar logo for the Sultanate of Oman. This
Now,
was made for the Sultan of Oman.
Roman,
you feel royal yet?
I feel really good. Now, I want to just bring this up. I haven't seen this watch in years. My parents bought it for me when I was a teenager, and I haven't put it on. And it's one of those rotating things, and it still keeps time. How much would this go for?
I wonder how many viewers actually remember that telephone.
That's right, it's a telephone thing. What do you think? How much would this go for?
It's absolutely priceless. Monetary value, none. However, no, you don't have one of those watches that belong to the Sultan of Oman, and it's not from a major brand. However, I get asked this question all the time. Oh, I got this watch passed down from my dad or my grandfather, and I look at the watch. It's maybe an old vintage something or other, or just a no-name watch, and I'm like, well, it's worthless in terms of value, but it's priceless in terms of sentimental value.
Sure is.
And that's most important about this
Now,
hobby.
I got to ask about these Trump sneakers here. What the heck?
Sneakergate, as I dubbed it. A man goes to a sneaker show. I was there to spend time with my son, who's in the sneaker business. Hype Miami, shameless plug. With that said, I'm hanging out with my son. He lives in Miami. I get to spend the day with my boy. I find out Trump is going to be there. Next thing you know, he drops sneakers at a sneaker con, the first president to ever do so. I go online, I order the regular pair, thinking they're going to sell out instantly. They did. And then one of my employees, Kevin, calls me and says, Roman, you got to come back. They have an auction. It's signed. It's one of a kind. He goes crazy. I'm like, okay, I come over. Now all of a sudden, I'm bidding on a friends and family pair, which is 1 out of 50. This one is number 38 out of 50. That's signed by Donald Trump. In my mind, I'm thinking, I'm a diehard collector. I'm a sneakerhead. I'm like, this is a great collectible to have. It's worth about 10 grand in the back of my head.
Right.
End up buying it for 9 grand. And the world goes crazy, and Sneakergate happened. Next thing you know, I am having lunch with the president in his...
You went to
gonna sell those?
Mar-a-Lago?
I was at his golf club. We sat down. We had a lunch for about 1 hour and 45 minutes. Had a regular.
Are you going to sell them?
No.
Okay.
I was
Well,
I was offered 25 grand for them already. But they're priceless now, much like that watch.
Like the watch. Well, a lot of people, you came to their attention with the article. Right now, you can catch them online. What's the website?
LuxuryBazaar.com, and you
Bazaar.
can just Google my name.
All
Get
right.
past all the sneaker articles, and you'll find all my social media channels there.
All right, that's Roman Sharf. Thank you for bringing all this.
Absolutely, guys.
Which one
Thank you
do
so
we
much
get
for
to
having
keep
me.
on the way
right.
out?
Well, this is 700,000. This
said-
is 800,000.
I didn't say buy. I said keep.
Hey,
There's a difference.